Welcome to J is for Justice podcast. If live breaking news and following true crime is your thing, then please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you like what you see in my videos, please consider giving them a thumbs up. Hello and welcome back. Good to see you guys this evening. Happy Friday. What is happening? I know that a lot of people are at CrimeCon this weekend. Have you guys heard anything about CrimeCon going on? Hey, Alabama. Hey, Andy Jean. Andy Jean says, bring the Wheel of Friday back. Can you guys hear me all right? Give me a 5x5 if I'm loud enough. I'm still getting over my sickness, so I'm kind of here, kind of not. Hello, Tyson. Good to see you, buddy. Mary Jane Bianco and Evelyn P. Living Life. The Miss Kells. And Incognito Potato. Hello, Miss Cheryl. Miss Flo. We got an 11x17 in the chat. 5x6. 5x5s. Hi, Miss Chris. I've been having sneezing fits. Hey, Bridget Servy 319. Hey, Lake Girl and Penny. I wonder if BJ was invited to CrimeCon. She is the CrimeCon. Hey, Agent. Kelly Olivia, thanks for joining me today. Ooh, I'm glad I'm live too. I've missed you guys so much. Hey, Scott H. Scott H. All coming on cam this morning. It was so good to see you. I know you couldn't get a word in edgewise with us chicks. But that happens, right? He's used to it. Hey, Salty. Yes. Hey, Dreams. Catching me from the start. So we have a new interview that came out with Bethany. I fixed the audio as best I could and uploaded it, but I figured we could go over it in a live review tonight. So, also, hey, RLR. But listen, guys, the 2020 comes out tonight at 9 on, I believe it's ABC. He is a gentleman. He is such a nice guy. I love Scott H. One of my favorites. The 2020 comes out tonight at 9, which is an hour from now. And it's on, I think it's ABC, right? But tomorrow it'll be available on Hulu. So tomorrow I'm going to let you guys know what time. And we're going to watch it on Kick together tomorrow. And if you can't watch it with us live, you can always go replay. You're sounding much better. Am I? So yeah, that'll be going on tomorrow, and I'll let you guys all know. I'll make a community post, etc., etc. And we can do things that way. But I think that's all. I think that's all for announcements. Hello, Miss Pam and darling Tammy. Hey, Butter. Thanks for coming in, y'all. I know I'm excited too. Put a 1 in chat if you've watched this already. Because I cheated. I watched it. But we're going to go over it again. Brittany is trying to shut down channels. I doubt she's going to CrimeCon. Right, Annie Jean? Oh, beware of creators that want to shut down other channels. That is a red flag. You haven't watched it yet, Potato? All right, well, let's pull it up. Let's pull it up with J is for Justice. This is Sergeant Blaker. And if you remember, the PCA, one of them was Sergeant Blaker, and one of them was Sergeant Payne, or Captain Payne, I guess. I don't know what the fuck his title is. You started to but stopped, Allison? Hey, Sapphire. BJ is a walking red flag. Fuck yeah. Oh, yeah. But yeah, you guys, if you guys could hit the thumbs up and let's get into it. Let me know if it's loud enough or...
First and foremost, if you could just take a deep breath for me. I understand this is stressful. Okay.
And I've got the captions on too, so... Should make
All
it
I want
easier.
to do is try and get an idea of what you heard, what you saw, and any timeline, any information that you can give us so that we can try and figure out what happened, okay? So just take a deep breath for me.
Okay, so first I want to say, or corporal pain, that's what it is. Thank you, Sapphire, for 11 months of membership. Um, he's very soft-spoken with her, very, very kind. Take a deep breath. Yes, this was on 11/13, and this is done at 1:48 p.m. So this is right after, literally after the vandal alert went out and they found out that their friends were in fact dead. They were taken down to the Moscow Police Department, all of the roomies and the friends. Hi, Tater Tot. Good to see you. Jay's like, liar. I know you watched. I know y'all did, nosy asses. I know you did. All right. So he's being very kind, very, hey, bubblegum.
No, this isn't going to be easy. We'll kind of go from there, okay? Can I get your name? What's your first name? What's your middle initial? And your last name? And your date of birth?
2003.
And you live there at 1122 King Road?
Yeah.
What's the phone number for you? And what state you're in, Nevada?
Nevada.
Nevada. Do you have your phone here with you? Okay. So what we're going to be doing is taking people's phones for a little while. And we're going to try and, so because I don't know if you called anyone or made any phone calls or anything like that. What we do in an investigation like this is we try and collect as much information as we can. Okay, anything that might be small, you may not think is important for us to find out what happened, but is very crucial. So taking something off your phone might be extremely useful for us, even if it's something that you don't realize, okay? And we'll try to get that phone back to you as fast as we can. Okay, is that okay with you? Okay, so this is your phone here?
Yeah, can I tell my mom?
That's fine, that's your phone number. Yep.
Okay, so that kind of goes with what Micro Kimmy just said. When he wanted to take her phone, like the level of anxiety, right? Like that's her only lifeline to her mother. And I would want my mom too. Hi, Pines. Hi, Cindy. Good to see you guys. Hey, Crimson. And then she says, can I let my mom know? I'd be the same way. Like, Mom, they're going to take my phone and I'll get back with you as soon as I can. Now, remember, her mom is in Nevada. Hey, Tinfoil. Plain Jane, thank you for becoming a member tonight. Good to see ya.
What I'm going to need is your passcode from your phone, or here between the two of us, we can even turn off your passcode, okay?
Hi, Snowflake. So they're doing her passcode right now.
How do you take them? Oh.
You figured it out? Okay. And if it won't let you do it, that's fine. You can just give me or tell me what your passcode
I just don't know my.
is. Okay. What is your password?
So this part is redacted. I'm assuming it's because she's giving her passwords.
And what type of...
Can I see my mom text me real quick?
Yes. All right. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
She said, "Can I see if my mom texts me real quick?" I feel so bad for her. Hey, Tempest. Good to see you. Aw, thank you, Plain Jane. I appreciate your support. Thanks.
Okay. Any social media, do you have like Facebook or anything?
Now he's asking about our socials. Crimson Moon, me too. She said, "I like watching the interview side of things and interrogation. Thanks for going live with us."
Do you have any other social media type
I
sites?
have
He's being very kind, though. I like Blaker. He was one of them that showed up at one of the noise complaints and had them dump out the beers when supposedly no one that lived there was home. And he was pretty cool that night, too. This is so traumatic to watch. This poor soul being victimized after surviving a mass murder scene. I know, Tyson. It's tough. It is. Yeah, he's holding it together good for the interviews, in my opinion, considering what he just saw.
Those the big ones?
yeah.
All right. So we're going to kind of go back and try and get a little bit of the timeline, okay? So what did you guys do last night? More specifically, were you, if you were by yourself and not with a group, what is...
Hey, Marcy. So I don't know why this is redacted. He asked what she did last
Ethan was in the house, so
So you're with...
one of them is my roommates, and one of them is her boyfriend.
Okay. So you're with Ethan...
And Xana.
Xana?
Mm-hmm.
Can you spell that for me?
Xany. Or ANA, sorry.
X-A-N-A. Okay. Okay, so I'm just trying to... Sometimes it helps me put names together. So you were with Ethan and Xana last night.
Yeah.
33 months, Flo.
And do you know Ethan's last name?
Achievement. I don't know how to spell it.
That's fine. And Xana's last name?
Criminal.
Do you know spell it?
I think it's KernO. Maybe another OD, probably, or something like that.
Okay. Okay, so you're within the city. What time did you guys get to City guys last night?
Around 8 something. Maybe 8:30.
Hey, Groovy.
So 8:30 p.m.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay. And prior to that, were you guys just at your house? Okay, so you left from your house.
Ethan was that formal because he went with his sister because she didn't have a date. And then we were just hanging out at our house. And then he came over and we all walked over together.
Okay, so that was you, Ethan, Xana. Was there another person with you? Or just the three of you that
Maddie
walked over?
walked over with us.
Okay.
Okay.
Logan.
So Maddie walked over with them. I don't know if you guys can hear this really well. Maddie walked over with them to the party at Ethan's.
Logan?
Mm-hmm.
Is it M-A-D-D-I-E?
Her real name is Madison, though, I believe.
Okay. So you guys all walked over to, you were there about 8:30. Okay. Were you guys all pretty much together or just kind of mingling throughout the house most of the time?
We were all pretty much together, and then Maddie left to go to the club with Kaylee. And then I was with Ethan and Santa most of the night, but then one of my friends came. Her name is Steve, and I hung out with her the rest of the night.
Okay. And who was that?
Her name is Yes.
Can you spell it for me? Okay. And his last name?
To answer your question, Kimmy, yes. Maddie had a car. Xana had a car. Or the surviving roommates. I don't think they had cars. From what I remember, no. I think it was Xana, Kaylee, Maddie, and Ethan and Hunter's vehicles that were there. I don't think these two had cars. I sound clearer tonight than this morning. Thank you. Hey, Kalina.
I don't know how to pronounce it, and her full name is bigger than that.
Okay, that's fine. Do you have a phone number for her?
Yeah.
It's on your phone. Okay, we can get that in a minute.
Thank you, Flo.
Okay, so you were with,
Mm-hmm.
and at that point, Ethan and Xana were just kind of hanging out still at the house?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then I went to our other friend's house.
Okay. What time was that at?
I don't know, maybe like 12-ish. But that could be wrong.
No, it's fine.
Froggy.
And where's that house?
It's just like up the street. I don't know that address.
Okay, up the street from.
Sigma Chi,
Okay.
kind of.
So you guys are at Sigma Chi, so you're walking back towards.
We're walking back towards my house, and then we're up this way.
So like when you got to Taylor Street, you went up. So if you walked all the way from Sigma News.
Or Sigma
Chi, sorry.
Yeah. You know the apartments, the whites.
Yep, I know the lights.
It's like that street, that way.
So on Taylor?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do you know roughly where on Taylor? Or does she live maybe on the other off streets?
That scared
It's
me.
on Taylor, but it's like one of the end houses by the intersection. I don't know how to explain it.
All right. Okay.
So
And whose house is it that you went to?
It's
this part confused me because I don't know who she's talking about. Are they talking about going to the Whites party?
and I don't know their other roommate.
And okay. All right. So you and you're at this house. How long were you here?
Maybe like 40 minutes.
Okay.
And then I left by myself and went back to my house.
So you walked home maybe around 1-ish?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know she walked home by herself. Did you guys? Oh, thank you, Dreams. And Lovey, welcome. Good to see you.
40 minutes.
Okay.
And then I left by myself.
That's so scary.
And went back to my house.
So you walked home maybe around 1-ish?
Yeah.
I thought her and Dylan were together the whole time.
Okay. What did you see when you got home?
Me and we're sitting on the couch watching Vampire Diaries. No one else was home yet.
Okay. And is another roommate or what was last name?
She's in the bathroom.
Oh, okay. And
I actually don't remember her last name.
that's fine. And does live with you guys too, or just
It was
with
just a friend.
Okay.
And then she left.
Do you know what time she left at? Okay. But you were all watching Okay. And anything happened during that time period?
We were just hanging out.
Okay. Do you know who else was in the house at that time?
No one.
No one? Just the three of you? Okay. So
Okay, so the three of them, it's Bethany, Dylan, and their friend watching Vampire Diaries at 1122 King.
what? Let's go a little bit more then. What happened next?
Maddie and Kaylee came home from the club. Left.
Maddie and who?
Kaylee.
Kaylee? Okay. And they got home from the club. You know what time that might have been?
I think I told one of the cops that was talking to me at the house, like, better times.
Okay.
I don't really remember right now. Maybe like 2 something, 1.
So if you got home around 1, that would have put them getting
Like
home.
1:45, 2, something like that.
Okay, so she's guessing what time Kaylee and Maddie got back from the corner club. Thank you so much, Shane Culkin, for gifting a membership. It's so good to see you, my friend.
So near bar break? If you had to guess?
Right?
Like near bar break?
What does that mean?
Bars normally close at 2 o'clock here.
Oh, yeah. They went to grab truck after, so I
Okay.
don't know.
Okay. What'd you do after that, after Maddie and Kaylee got home?
We all hung out in Kaylee's room for a little. And then talked, and then Maddie and I took Murphy out to pee.
Okay, so after Kaylee and Maddie got home, this is important. They all hung out in Maddie's room, right? Is that what she said? Kaylee's room. So this is interesting to me. They were all hanging out in Kaylee's room eating, right? Eating the mac and cheese from the grub truck, etc., etc. If they were hanging out in Kaylee's room, I wonder what took both girls to Maddie's room. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Newfie and Criminal Med and Huntress, welcome in. Rhonda G. But do you get what I'm saying? Like, if they were all hanging in her room, she had that big bed. How did both girls end up in Kaylee's room to sleep? I wonder. And where was Murphy? Well, I guess we'll get to that. So they hung out in Kaylee's room for a little.
Maddie and I took Murphy out to pee.
Then Maddie and Bethany took Murphy out to pee. Now, this is important because later, Maddie comes to Bethany's room looking for Murphy. You do, Kimmy? You think Kaylee was in her bed and heard some ruckus in Maddie's room and got up to check it out and was ambushed? You don't think she was already in there? Hey, Amberly. So Kaylee or Maddie and Bethany take Murphy out to pee.
The dog. And then I said I was going to go to bed because I was tired. And she said she was going to go to bed too. And then I went to my room. I was going to sleep. And she came and knocked and asked if I had Murphy. And I said no. And then I went to bed.
Okay.
Okay, so Maddie, she says, Maddie, I'm going to bed. I'm tired. And Maddie says, me too. I'm going to bed as well. Hey, Coca. And hi, Kathy. Right. So I'm wondering, like, if they were all hanging in there, maybe they did all retreat to their own rooms. That gave me chills when he asked if anyone else in the house, and she said no. Yeah, Carrie. Like Olivia said, Kaylee would have kicked his ass. Maybe she tried to. That could be, man.
What time did you think you took Murphy out?
Like 3, 2:30.
2:30 to 3?
Yeah.
Okay. And where do you normally take Murphy to go to the bathroom?
Just the back door in the
Okay.
kitchen.
So which one is 1122? So if I'm coming up King Road off the Taylor,
It's the big white house.
all the way to the very top on the right?
Oh, well, it's technically on Queen, but the address is King.
Okay. So is it the one that's tucked back as you're going up
Can we
to?
play that for BJ who always gets it wrong? Technically, it's on
But
Queen,
the address is King.
but the address is King. See that? Let's put that up there for a second. Maybe Maddie went to her bed and Kaylee didn't want to sleep on her own and went to Maddie's room, maybe. It could be. It would explain why her covers were pulled back. Yes. Who do you think said there's someone here, Kaylee or Xana? I think it was Xana, but Bethany or Dylan is convinced it was Kaylee. I wonder if she still thinks that was Kaylee. Hey, Beans. I think that could have been Xana.
Okay. So is it the one that's tucked back as you're going up to 500 Clean Road? Those big apartments? It's kind of tucked back just a little bit?
Mhm.
Okay. So you normally go out the back deck then?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I know how Cheshire then. Okay. So you go there. You and Maddie take the dog out.
Mm-hmm.
And then how long do you think that took?
I was out there for maybe like 10 seconds.
Okay. Okay. So then you both come back in. So you and Maddie both
I
come
came
back
in
in.
before she did.
Okay. Did Maddie still have the dog then?
Yes, I think
Okay.
so.
So you went out for a little bit, came back in. Do you know what time Maddie came back in?
Mm-hmm.
And you went straight to bed when you came back in?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How long after you went to bed do you think that?
Okay, so she said 2:30 to 3 o'clock. Her and Maddie took the dog out the back door. She was only out there for about 10 seconds. And Maddie remained out there with the dog and she went to bed. So when were the phone calls to Jack? They were between 2:30 and 3 o'clock, correct? So if Maddie couldn't find Murphy, were they maybe trying to call Jack about the dog? I don't know. It is scary. How come Kaylee didn't go out and take the dog out? I wonder. Why did Maddie take it? You know what I mean? Like, is that normal? Hey, Tammy. That would be my question. Like, is it normal for other people to take Murphy out? You know what I mean?
Actually, I came in, grabbed some chips, into my room, and watched the show for a little, and then I went to bed.
What were you watching?
It's called Baby Daddy.
Okay. How long do you think you watched it?
Maybe like 30 minutes.
So one episode maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or like a half.
Okay. And did Maddie come in during that show or after?
She just knocked on my door, I think, during and asked if I had Murphy, and I said no.
Okay.
Okay.
Then what?
So we have Bethany gone back to her room, watching Baby Daddy and getting ready to go to bed. She got some chips. And then Maddie comes to her door. Knock, 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 knock. Hey, do you have Murphy? So why? I'm so confused at this. If they were both outside taking the dog, Bethany says, "See you, Maddie. I'm going to bed." What happened in that time frame? Northern Beans, no place I'd rather be. 25 months of membership. Thank you so much. I heard they all shared taking Murphy out. Kathy, she was calling Jack 226 to 244. Then Maddie calls Jack 244 to 252. Maybe Maddie was drunk and forgot, but I don't know. I don't know. So she comes and she's like, "Do you have Murphy?" She's like, "No." And then she went to sleep.
What happened after that?
I just went to bed, and then I woke up and I was like half asleep, and I just thought I saw like a firework or something. like it just sparkled like under my door.
Okay, here we go. So she saw something sparkle under her door. What the heck would that have been?
Thought I saw like a firework or something. Like it just sparkled like
Kim Watts. Maybe Maddie took her in, and when Bethany went in, she left the door open and the dog ran in the house.
under my door. And I thought I heard like something kind of fall. And then Murphy barked, but I thought people were just making like food, like, and Ethan was here or something and knocked something over because he's usually loud in the kitchen upstairs.
Hi, Skip. So she says, I heard something like kind of fall, and she thought people were upstairs making food, and that Ethan's usually pretty loud in the kitchen. So she thought it was that. Could it have been a flashlight? What did she see sparkle under her door? A firework or something sparkle.
Oh, like under my door. And I thought I heard like something kind of fall. And then Murphy barked, but I thought people were just making like food, like, and Ethan was here or something and knocked something over because he's usually loud in the kitchen upstairs.
Okay.
Flashlight?
So what do you mean by you heard a firework?
It sounded like a little firework, and then there was like a spark. I went by my, like, I'm on the bottom floor.
Okay.
Okay, so she heard something though too. Like if you think it's a flashlight, she heard what she said was a firework. So that's what's throwing me off. It's not just what she saw, it's what she heard. Right? And I'm picking up what you're laying down, Evelyn, but what would the sound be? That sounds like a firework. A stun gun makes noise and sparks. Oh, you mean like that? Oh, I know what you're saying. Like, yeah. Sipping Shine, welcome. Thanks for joining. Now that, but we just don't know. Like, why would, if Koberger had a taser, why would he be pushing it outside of her door? And what would light up? Huh. That's really weird because considering where her bedroom was, it's like, wow. A friend of mine had a stun gun in an open purse in a light rain, and the dang thing started throwing sparks in her purse. To be fair, it woke her up. It could have been the thud we heard. Oh, it could have been maybe the table. Hey, Pickle. The end of the laser lights up when you're holding the button. Oh. Xana could have run down the stairs to get her food and slammed the door. Daff says if he had a taser, then he was definitely Papa Roger. I think he was Papa Roger. Just because they can't prove it doesn't mean he wasn't. The noise was before the murders, yes. Okay, let's keep going. Hold on. Let me go back.
Okay. So what do you mean by you heard a firework?
It sounded like a little firework, and then there was like a spark. I went by my, like, I'm on the bottom floor.
Okay.
So it kind of looked like it came down there, but I don't know.
And so is Murphy your dog?
Kaylee's dog.
Kaylee's dog?
Kaylee and her ex-boyfriend's dog.
Okay. So
Hi,
you
Gigi.
heard Murphy bark right after you heard what you thought was a firecracker?
Yeah, something like that. Like, I don't know, dogs bark at random things. And sometimes when he's happy, he'll bark.
Okay. It didn't sound like an angry growl or anything like that, just a bark?
I don't really know. I was like half asleep.
Okay.
It just sounded like bark.
So.
Okay, so a bark coincided with the spark and the fireworks sound.
hear the fireworks, kind of see a spark underneath the door. Murphy barks. What'd you hear after that?
Pretty much nothing.
Nothing.
That's it.
Okay. And you thought maybe someone was just in the kitchen at that point?
Yeah, just like someone accidentally fell into the table or something.
Okay.
And she was like, "Was Murphy?"
Do you know about what time that might have been? Do you have any
Like
idea?
4 or something. I tried.
Okay. So here we go. The running into the table with the beer pong cups on it, right? Right. Did he stun gun the dog?
Yeah, just like someone
Hi, Brandy.
accidentally fell into the table or something.
Okay.
And she was like, "Was Murphy?"
Do you know about what time that might have been? Do you have any
Like
idea?
4 or something. I tried to call all the.
Like for something. Right? That's what I'm wondering. Did he tase the dog? We have Murphy barking or making a noise at the same time.
Fell into the table or something.
Okay.
And she was like, "Was Murphy?"
Do you know about what time that might have been? Do you have any
Like
idea?
4 or something. I tried to call all the. At like 4:20ish around that time, and no one was answering. I thought they just went to bed or something.
Okay. What happened after that?
And called me. She said she thinks she saw someone, and I didn't know like really what to think of it because sometimes we think we hear things a lot in the house, but it's usually just Ethan walking around. But she came. I told her to come in my room, and she could sleep with me, and we could lock the door, just stay in there just in case if there was anything. And that's all I know. I just went back to sleep.
You didn't hear anything else?
Mhm.
Okay. No one else talking?
Didn't hear something.
Okay. Did you make it to your room then?
Mhm.
Okay. What time do you think she got in your room?
Around like 4:20, 4:30.
Okay, about the same time.
Yeah.
Where's her room located to yours?
I'm the only one on the bottom floor, right by the front door.
Okay.
And then you go up the stairs, and Xana's room, and Xana's room, the kitchen, and then upstairs is Maddie and Kaylee's room.
Okay. And where's the room?
Right by the kitchen.
Right by the kitchen.
Mhm.
Okay. And did she say anything to you when she got into the room?
She said she thought she saw a man, but I didn't know what to think of it. I was like still half asleep, and I was like, I didn't know what to think. I don't know.
Okay.
It didn't sound like I didn't hear screams, I didn't hear anything. So I didn't really know.
Okay. Okay. But notice that she didn't say anything more than she just saw someone.
That's all I remember her saying.
Right. Harley Ryder, she said that she wasn't sure if it was a bark, if it was a whimper, if it was, anything like that. Welcome in, guys. Good to see y'all.
So your bed then, if I'm looking at the right house, you have a parking lot, front door, and your bedroom's just to the right. Okay. And that's where you slept from by the time you finally got into your room around 4-ish or so. Actually before that.
So like 3 something.
Yeah. So you were in there sleeping. Okay. Dylan got to your room maybe somewhere around 4:20ish, but Dylan was already home at that point. You knew that Maddie and Kaylee were home. Do you know when anyone else in the house got home?
I don't know when Xana or Ethan got home. I didn't hear them come in or anything.
Okay. Okay. And last time you saw.
Okay,
Xana.
wait.
I don't know when Xana or Ethan got home. I didn't hear them come in or anything.
What time did Xana and Ethan get home? So were they upstairs eating and talking in Kaylee's room when Xana and Ethan got home? That's because they weren't quite sure that, like, she, I should say, Bethany didn't quite know if Ethan was even there, right? I thought they were home when they were watching Vampire Diaries upstairs with the other friend. Dakota, if you keep it up, you're going to get blocked. Not doing this. Not doing this. Okay? It's your only warning. Hey, AJ's life jacket.
Okay.
Well, what time did they get back to the 1122 King, though?
Dylan was already home at that point. You knew
Well,
that Maddie and Kaylee were home. Do you know when anyone else in the house got home?
I don't know when Xana or Ethan got home. I didn't hear them come in or anything.
Okay. Okay. And last time you saw Xana and Ethan was at the Sigma guys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
hey, Chantel.
So did you see anything weird at the party there?
Just a little.
Okay. And since how the way that they're set up, where everyone hanging out primarily up in the main common room area, with most people hanging out in individual rooms and stuff like that.
It was a little bit of a mixture. At first, it was in the apartments, and then it was the main room.
Okay. Yeah.
And then as I was leaving, I wanted to grab a backpack from our friend's room, and Xana and Ethan were sitting on the couch just listening to music.
Okay. And that was up in the main room, or that was in?
Okay, wait, what? I'm confused now. Oh, okay. So did you see anything weird at the party? Hold on. I'm confused what she's talking about right now.
Did you see anything weird at the party there?
Just a little.
Okay. And since how the way that they're set up, where everyone hanging out primarily up in the main
Oh, okay, so he's asking about the party. And Allison, I'm so glad you came here to watch it with me.
common room area, with most people hanging out in individual rooms and stuff like that.
It was a little bit of a mixture. At first, it was in the apartments, and then it was the main room.
Okay. Yeah.
And then as I was leaving, I wanted to grab a backpack from our friend's room, and Xana and Ethan were sitting on the couch just listening to music.
Okay. And that was up in the main room, or that was in?
That was in an apartment.
That was in an apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did you hear of anything that happened to anybody?
Mm-mm.
Was there anyone strange or odd hanging around the party?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Do you know of anybody in your house that has an issue with anyone? Any ex-boyfriends, anything like that?
Mm-mm. All their ex-boyfriends were really nice, and they still are good friends.
Oh, this part was hard for me. I'm still confused though, because if Xana and Ethan were home at 1:45, unless she's mistaken, at the question he just asked her, which was what time did everybody else get home, and she said she didn't know. So did they just go straight to their rooms? Yeah, I think she's talking about the party right now. But I'm saying she said she didn't know what time they got back. So he just asked, any problems with any ex-boyfriends? And she says, nope. All their ex-boyfriends were really nice and they were still good friends. Brit Focus. Hi, Jay in chat. At this point, does BF know they're deceased? Yes.
Anyone? Any ex-boyfriends, anything like that?
all their ex-boyfriends are really nice and they still are good friends.
Okay. Have you ever had any of your roommates complain about anyone stalking them?
Mm-mm. Once though, Kaylee said when everyone was like gone, me and we were at the sorority house for a meeting, and it was only Kaylee and she was taking Murphy out. This was a while ago, and she said she swears she saw someone staring at her while she was taking the dog out to pee from the
Remember how long
backyard.
ago that was?
Thank you so much, Brandy Wine. She said, I love all your lives on both channels. Thank you so much for your super chat. I appreciate you. So she's recalling right here, Kaylee. Once, though, Kaylee said when everyone was gone, this is what happened.
Me and we were at the sorority house for a meeting, and it was only Kaylee and she was taking Murphy out to pee. This was a while ago, and she said she swears she saw someone staring at her while she was taking the dog out to pee from the
Remember how long
backyard.
ago that was?
Maybe like a month. She could see like a man silhouette like staring at her.
You think it was about a month ago?
Mm-hmm.
That's so
Did
scary.
Kaylee have any issues with anyone?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. None of them have made any comments or statements of anyone trying to come onto them or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
God dang. I just had a creepy thought.
And you said that.
Oh my
calling
God.
Ex-boyfriend.
Okay, before we get past this incident with Kaylee, I just had a really creepy thought, you guys. Let me pull up for you. Oh my God. This is what I pictured when I just heard her say that story about Kaylee. This right here is the image that popped in my head. Is this motherfucker? And this is Catherine Ramsland's one of her latest books. And I just picture him standing there in the back by those trees in the dark, staring at her like this. And I couldn't help but picture her damn book cover. Ugh. It's so scary. Isn't that freaky? Brian Koberger's Professor's latest book. The Eye Scream Man. Look at, he's got the hoodie like a jumpsuit. He's got the ears. Woo. Watching from a distance. Scary stuff, Ramsland. Scary stuff. Let me see. When did she write that? Let me see the date. Catherine Ramsland. Ice Cream Man. September 8th, 2022 is when that came out. September 8th, 2022. Or, yeah. Wait. Yeah, September 8th, 2022. Right before the murders. Ugh. Right before the murders. Like, oh my God. It came out September 2022. And Bethany just said that happened about a month before the murders. That would put like early October. Ugh. I'm sorry. This whole thing is fucking weird. I'm done. These things are just too weird. Stop. Stop it. So while he was doing that, she's got a book cover that looks like him doing that. Ugh, I have goosebumps. Stop it. What I find crazy is a lot of times there's a foreshadowing before some tragic event happens, sort of like the Simpson effect. Ugh. Kelly Barrison, hold me. The murders happened November 13th, 2022. Mm. Okay, let's go back to the interview. Whew. Ramsland weirds me the freak out too. Okay, so let me go back to that story. I want you guys to hear it without anybody stopping it. Here we go. I have not, Marcy.
Okay. Have you ever had any of your roommates complain about anyone stalking them?
Mm-mm. Once though, Kaylee said when everyone was like gone, me and we were at the sorority house for a meeting, and it was only Kaylee and she was taking Murphy out. This was a while ago, and she said she swears she saw someone staring at her while she was taking the dog out to pee from the
Remember how long
backyard.
ago that was?
Maybe like a month. She could see like a man's silhouette like staring at her.
You think it was about a month ago?
Mm-hmm.
Did Katie have any issues with anyone?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Remember, there was another incident that was in the documents. Another girlfriend, I think it was Ava, but don't quote me on that. I'm not sure it was Ava, but one of the girlfriends had said that Kaylee had Murphy out and she saw someone behind the dumpster looking at her. Remember that one too?
None of them has made any comments or statements of anyone trying to come onto them or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he asked anybody trying to come on to them or anything like that, and she was like, "Mm-mm." So it's just interesting, right? We're not hearing of anybody like rejecting someone publicly or anything like that. So I'm kind of leaning away from the fact that Brian Koberger actually hit on one of them in person, if you get my drift. I'm leaning away from that. What do you guys think of that?
Anyone trying to come onto them or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you said that all the ex-boyfriends and that, they're all normally very nice and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Are any of them fairly recent breakups?
One, but
Like I said, every little bit helps. Can you give me a little information on that one?
his name's he lives.
Okay.
I spelled apprentice wrong, but you know what I'm
Down
saying.
the street.
On Taylor?
On King, I think.
Okay.
And he and Kaylee share Murphy,
Okay.
and they dated for 7 years.
And that's in Kaylee?
Mm-hmm. Or something like that.
And they dated for 7 years?
Something like that. Since high school. Their families were really close too.
Okay. And they shared Murphy?
Mm-hmm. I think.
Now we're talking about Jack.
How long did they break up?
Maybe like 3 months or something. But they're still on really good terms.
Do you know why they broke up?
She was gonna move to Texas.
Where's Kaylee from?
Portland.
Okay.
mother of cycle breakers. We are watching 2020 tomorrow because we don't have cable. So we have to wait till tomorrow to stream it on Hulu, and I'll be streaming it on my Kick. There's a brand new Idaho 4 tonight at 9 p.m. But like I said, we don't have that, so we're going to stream it tomorrow. BK's birthday is November 21st. Yes. I want to take a little palate cleanser real fast and take you guys over here. I have this quick video about Ramsland and Brian, and I want you guys to hear what Ramsland said in her last public interview. Okay? Her last public interview with Brian Enton. After that, she canceled all interviews that were set up, all podcasts canceled. Okay? However, she did speak to Enton before she did that. All right, so I want you guys to take a listen.
He seemed like eager to be in the classroom. He was polite. He was respectful, intense, and curious. When I look back, there really isn't anything that stood out to me.
He recalled Koberger indicated a desire to work with blank, a professor of forensic psychology and criminal justice at blank, who has written many notable books and articles on the serial killer BTK.
You mentioned, you studied BTK, the serial killer. You met with him many times in prison. Do you want to study Brian Koberger? Have you put any thought into that? Is that something that you think could be possible?
I've been thinking about that for 2.5 years. I would. This is my work. If he wanted to do that, I would. And within the framework of this is what we do to try to look at developmental trajectories, the triggers, so that we can see the red flags faster. We can prevent people like this. There was no reason for me to think that he was anything other than someone who was really interested in this potential career.
Okay. Well, we've got the professor in Pullman saying if we give this guy a degree, he's going to be a freaking offender. We're putting people in danger if we give this guy a PhD. And she's like, he was intense. Oh, he was respectful. How in the world could he have been so respectful, but so disrespectful in Washington that he got all these complaints in the first month?
He seemed like eager to be in the classroom. He was polite. He was respectful, intense, and curious.
Like, what the hell? Ugh. Have you seen the movie Long Legs? Looks just like the character. No. So yeah, after she said all of this, she actually canceled all of her podcasts. Ooh. And she called the family after his arrest. Well, Ramsland, okay, so we don't know there were complaints in DeSales. The complaints were at WSU. She was at DeSales in Pennsylvania. Oh my God, Long Legs.
Where is
Clearly.
okay. Okay. You said that they're still on good terms, still talking to
Very
each
good
other?
terms. Yeah.
Okay. Has Kayla even seen anyone else lately?
Not really that I know of.
Okay. Do you know when she was going to move to Texas?
After this year. But then apparently she wasn't going to anymore. I don't know.
Okay, that was something that we've never heard. Do you know when she's going to move to Texas? After the semester. But apparently she wasn't going anymore. I don't know.
Do you know when she was gonna move to Texas?
After this semester. But then apparently she wasn't going to anymore. I don't know.
Do you know what changed your mind?
I think she wanted to stay here with all of us.
I guess she wanted to stay here with all of us. Hey, Robat. I didn't know she wasn't going anymore either. That was news to me. Kaylee Gonsalves had a job in Texas. Well, she was already working for the company, and then she had like a full-time job that she was supposed to be moving to Texas for. Yeah, weird, huh, Flo? Do you know what changed her mind? And she said, I guess she wanted to stay here with us.
But then apparently she wasn't going to anymore. I don't know.
Do you know what changed your mind?
I think she wanted to stay here with all of us.
Enrique? Can someone get rid of Enrique? Enrique, go fuck yourself. How dare you? You're going to sit here and say that one of these victims was smitten with their killer? Stop.
Okay. Is there anything else you think is important for me to know? And you might remember things later. That's very normal, okay? If you think you remember anything else, please reach back out to us. And then bring me back in and we'll get that information, okay? I'll go back to my notes real quick before I let you go, okay?
That's possible, Plain Jane.
Okay. And you don't remember Kaylee's last name?
Gonsalves.
Gonsalves?
Yeah, Gonsalves.
Okay, can you spell it for me?
I don't know how to spell it.
Oh, that's right, sorry.
It's almost over.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, did I misunderstand him? I'm sorry if I did.
Right. Yeah, I very much thank you for sitting down with me, okay?
Sorry.
You can get out of the room, so you can be with your friends, all right? You sure there's nothing else?
I am so sorry, Enrique. I didn't know you were talking about Ramsland being smitten. I'm so sorry. You know what, though? Chloe SF, I feel like he's being very, very good with her. These guys didn't have shit for resources. And quite frankly, it's not Blaker's fault that they don't have shit for resources and didn't have a victim's advocate. Yes, please unblock him. I'm sorry, Enrique. I have misunderstood your comment, and I am very sensitive about people blaming the victims or putting anything on these victims.
Right. Yeah, I very much thank you for sitting down with me, okay? You're gonna take you out of the room, so you can be with your friends, all right? You sure there's nothing else?
I know I get hostile too. Wait, who was that? Hold on. Who's walking by here? Hold up. Let me mute it. Oh, is that that looks like God, it looks like Brian Koberger, but it's not. I think that's the one university cop. Isn't that weird though? It kind of looks like BK. What the fuck? He did do his best, guys. He did do his best. I mean, considering what he just saw as well. Who is that guy? Ooh, Shelby Lynn. She said it out loud. I think anything's possible. I think that's God, Barrett. Barrett. I think it's Barrett, but it looks like BK. I think local law enforcement did a badass job with what they had. They didn't have many resources, and apparently they still don't. It's important to talk to them before they talk to others. Right. It's important to talk to them before they talk to others and shape different memories. Too bad they couldn't interview her in a lounge and a body-worn camera for more comfortable conditions. Yeah, they don't, it doesn't seem like they have, like when we saw Soto in the interview room here in Orlando. When we saw Soto, she was on like a couch. There was like, plants in the room, but I think with the very little resources, they did good. Oh man, Theater Geek, I'm with you. Plain Jane says, I feel like that monster chose Moscow for that reason. Did you guys see all the new? Let's talk about the really quick before I end this. Let's talk about the 2020 and the new selfies that are going to be shown. Where are those selfies? Did you guys see all of them? They're pretty wild. Okay, here they are. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, that ice cream man, that's some creepy shit right there. All right. Okay, so this is going to be, yes, it's ABC. All right. So it's on right now. If you guys have cable, it's on ABC. Woohoo! Congratulations, Micro. That is kick ass. Good for you. Yes, we're going to stream it tomorrow. Is there an app for Kick? Yes. Well, I don't know about on your TV, but on your phone, there is an app. I just hope she had someone in the hall waiting for her, like mom or someone close. I think that the Chapins took all those kids under their wing that night, from what I recall. Yep. I will drop it in a community post when I decide what time. He was fat when he was in high school. Thank you, Flo. I don't understand why no attorney here. Can someone help me with this? I would not be happy if it was my child. Oh, I didn't even think of that. Were their parents able to get there fast? Not really. Karen Laramie, I think Maddie's mom got there. The Gonsalveses didn't go there and the first night. The Chapins got there at 9, I think, p.m. So I'm thinking that maybe Maddie's mom was there first. And then the Chapins. And Kernodle was already there because he was there for Parents Weekend with Xana's sister. And he was at WSU for Parents Weekend. And he had just left to drive back to, I think, Arizona, where he lives. And Jasmine Kernodle called him and said, Dad, you need to come back because something bad has happened to Xana. So that's kind of how I remember it. But as far as them driving there and stuff, it took a while. So these are the new selfies that were put out for the 2020. Here's another one. Like, what is this? And I couldn't help but look at his nose. Dude, someone broke his freaking nose and he didn't like go to the doctor. Because look at that thing. You could almost see where it was broken and just like healed. God. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure he's attacked other people and something happened to his damn nose. And, pay attention to his hair in these different photos because here it's different than it is here where it's a little curlier. Hey, Miss Schwitz. And then we have this one, and notice the hair. High and tight, right, on the sides. Remember, I had a picture. Those of you that have been with me for a while, there was a picture of him at the University of Idaho. I don't know what the name of the building was, but he looked like he was sitting there at a table. But of course, we'll never know. Oh, thank you, Shelby Lynn. Shelby Lynn says, for those that are watching their creators on Rumble and Kick, Amazon Fire Stick has both these apps. It's real simple to install on any smart TV. Plus, it has voice control. Thank you. You do remember that? Yes, it was like a lunchroom or like a main area. And the guy had a real short haircut on the sides. Here's another one, which his lips. Oh, hold on. Let me, Ugh. Ugh. I mean, this one literally makes me want to gag. You have Rumble on your Roku. Oh, cool. It only took a few months to rack up 15 complaints. When he moved to Pullman, he devolved quickly from PA. No, his eyes are very blue there, right? But you know what's weird about his photos? So they're going to have more too. They have him in like a hoodie and, some other creepy ones. Hold on. I want to show you a picture. I love doing this kind of stuff. But like, this is what I kind of, oh God, I freaking hate Bryan Kohberger. You're such a dick. He's such a dick. You know how the hoodie one was supposed to like represent Ted Bundy? Look at this. Stop it, Bryan Kohberger. He's a weirdo, dude. This is Ted Bundy. Ugh. Who, by the way, I do not think is attractive. Isn't that weird? Come on. Isn't that creepy? Jay, I wonder if the unfixed nose is from a previous attack. That's what I'm thinking. He's such a wannabe. It's like Olivia said. You're a wannabe. There's nothing original about you. Yeah, but if he did that boxing legitimately, then why not go to the doctor and have it set, right? Because there's a point in time where his nose wasn't broken and when it was. I love Olivia's impact statement. Yeah, I just think I think that Ted Bundy had more of a personality than Brian. I think Brian's just a fucking weirdo. Okay, so now this one right here. Ooh. Hello, angels. I love Olivia's statement. Jay, I think the light and sound and beating was done with a police taser. It also has a flashlight. I have one. Interesting. Interesting. No, he didn't have a picture of Ted Bundy. He had this in his phone. I was just comparing it because it reminded me of that one, of Ted. Okay. No, that was not in his phone. Boxing my ass. Learn to keep your gloves up first. First lesson. Flo, you're so smart. I just love you. His teeth. I think we have seen his teeth. They're pretty gangly. Here's another one he took. This one looks like he took it in the dark and used a flash because you can kind of see the red, look. I mean, this is literally what fucking nightmares are made of. This is what nightmares are made of. And you know this shit was in the middle of the night because Crete Burger was up all night long. Allison, I actually did. You can go replay it. We covered it yesterday, I think, or the day before. Why all these pictures? I don't know. Maybe he used them on, like someone said, his Tinder or, something else that he cleared off his phone. We don't know what kind of apps and things that he used because he did such a good job of clearing everything. So here's another one, and all in the bathroom. But if you look here, hold on, let me get rid of Flo's super chat here. And if you look here, it almost looks like maybe that's wet. I'm not sure. What do you guys think? Why all the selfies was he sending them to someone? See, they had no proof of what he did with them. Right, earbuds and everyone like he was going running at night. Maybe he was taking a selfie in the dark before the murders and that was the flash. Oh, Audrey. Damn the beak on that motherfucker. I know. So he liked to go running, hiking. He liked to be at parks. It's just really weird, right? It's very creepy. But these are some of the pictures that they're going to be showing on the 2020 special. So tomorrow we can reconvene for that. Be checking my community. I'll put the link to Kick. Kick is 100% free. We can stream anything over there. You can watch movies. Let me get his ass off here. You can watch movies. You can play documentaries. All of this stuff. So I hope you guys will join us and like I said, check out the community tomorrow. I'll put it up there and put a link and let you guys know what time. He looks like a freaking dork. Yes, mama's boy. So here's another random fun fact. The contacts in his phone. You know what? If you guys want to watch one more thing, I'm down. Do you guys want to watch another show? Not a long one, but it's about the people that did the dump on his phone. The Celebrate people and what they found. The cell analysts, they did quite a few interviews. Um Let me find it. Do you guys remember their names by chance? I think it might be this one. Crime Fix. Okay. Yeah, let's take a look at this. All right. Brian E interviewed them. Okay, let me see that one. Hold on. Let me pull this one up first. Because these guys probably know the most, because we're not going to hear from the FBI. They're not going to give us any info on what they did. So we're kind of stuck. And the only people we can really get the most info from on this cell phone analysis is the Celebrate people who did their extraction, right? Let's see. When did Brian do his interview with them? Shit. The research papers. I can't find it. Professor thought Koberger would become a predator. I can't find it. I don't know. Maybe you guys can tell me, like, the title or something. All right, let's watch this first.
Bundy, who attended college,
Hold on.
but he may not have done a good enough job because two experts went through data from his phone and his computer and found evidence that would very likely have painted a damning picture of guilt had his trial moved forward. Those experts are Heather Barnhart and Jared Barnhart from Celebrate.
Nancy interviewed them too. I don't think I've seen that one.
Right. And they're going to join me here very shortly. Celebrate is a firm that employs top experts from around the world in digital forensics. They analyze electronics and they testify at trials. And the things that Jared and Heather found, they're really going to creep you out. And those things could be part of what led Brian Koberger to ask for a plea deal earlier this summer. Koberger pleaded guilty to murdering Maddie Mogan, Kaylee Gonsalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin last month. Koberger is now serving 4 consecutive life sentences for the brutal killings. Koberger was a criminology major at Washington State University, so he was studying crime and serial killers. One serial killer we've told you about that Koberger was studying, Ted Bundy, who attended college in Washington, but then killed women in several states, including Utah, Colorado, and Florida. Bundy was caught after murdering sorority sisters in Tallahassee. But the Barnharts say that Brian Koberger was obsessed with other serial killers. When the Barnharts started digging, they found that Brian Koberger was searching for serial killer Harvey Glattman. He was a rapist in the 1950s.
Okay, let me slow this down a little bit. I've never heard of this guy.
They found that Brian Koberger was searching for serial killer Harvey Glattman.
Do you guys know Harvey Glattman? Harvey Glattman. Harvey Murray Glattman was an American serial killer and rapist during the late 50s, known as the Lonely Hearts Killer or the Glamour Girl Slayer. He would use several pseudonyms, posing as a professional photographer, to lure his victims with the promise of a modeling career. And he was executed in California gas chamber for murdering 3 young women. Ew. You guys want to see his picture? This is him. Oh, he would bind, assault, and ultimately murder his innocent victims, all while capturing their final moments of terror on film. He recorded it. You've heard of him? I've never heard of him. This is in the 1950s. It says 1959 he died. He was put to death. He was known as the Lonely Hearts Killer and the Glamour Girl Slayer in the late 50s. He was born December 10th, 1927, and he died September 18th, 1959. All right, back to this. See, this is what's fun, is like watching these things and then looking shit up as we go.
He was a rapist in the 1950s who was known as the Lonely Hearts Killer. He also was called the Glamour Girl Slayer. Another was Robert Hansen, who kidnapped, raped, and murdered at least 17 women in Alaska in the 1970s and 1980s.
So another rapist. Here's rapist number 2, right? That he had looked up.
Hearts Killer. He also was called the Glamour Girl Slayer. Another was Robert Hansen, who kidnapped, raped, and murdered at least 17 women in Alaska in the 1970s and 1980s. Kohberger also searched for Tommy Lynn Sells, who was known as the Coast to Coast Killer and is believed to be responsible for more than 22 murders.
The Coast to Coast Killer.
But one of Kohberger's searches really jumped out at the Barnharts. That search was for a man whose name isn't as widely known as, say, Ted Bundy. Danny Rolling was dubbed the Gainesville Ripper after he murdered 4 female college students and a male student in August of 1990. Rolling broke into the apartments of the college students, dressed in all black, wearing a mask. He sexually
We went into a deep dive on Danny Rawlings.
assaulted 2 women in one apartment and stabbed them with a K-bar knife. He also entered the homes of one of his victims through a sliding glass door. Does this sound familiar? This sounds a lot like Bryan Kohberger and what he is now admitted to doing to Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan, with the exception of the sexual assault. But did a sexual assault not happen in Idaho because Kohberger was interrupted?
That's what
I
I
believe
think.
so. It seems like Bryan Kohberger copied Danny Rolling. The Barnharts also found searches for pornography on Kohberger's phone, and it was the type of pornography that was incredibly disturbing. They will describe it to you here later. And Bryan Kohberger, for a 28-year-old man, had a really close and bizarre relationship with his parents. He called them mother and father, and it seems like they were his only friends. Now, it's not unusual to be close to your parents, but Bryan Kohberger, for someone his age, talked a lot with his parents, both his mom and dad, and he was quite obsessed with his appearance. We'll have more on that later, too. So to discuss all of this, I would like to bring in Heather Barnhart and Jared Barnhart. They are both digital forensics experts at Celebrite, and Heather is also a fellow at the SANS Institute. So thank you guys both for coming on to talk with us about your work on the Idaho case.
Thank you for having us.
Heather, I'll start with you. When were you first approached about working on this case?
It was late spring of 2023 when the FBI reached out, seeing if I was interested in assisting.
Mm-hmm. And then Heather, do you reach out to Jared and say, or do you go back to the FBI and say, I think Jared, he should be, working on the case too, or how does that work?
Well, I casually asked them, would you prefer 4 sets of eyes versus 2? And it was a laptop and a phone. So having us divide and conquer, I thought could be really helpful. And they said, absolutely, come in. And that's how it all started.
So Jared, where do you guys go from there?
So we went into the FBI office and just sort of got a little bit of a pulse of where the investigation was, some of the digital evidence that they had. And I mean, from there, you really have to take a slow look at which devices had they extracted data from. We had one Android phone and then a computer, and then understanding, what they had already done. Like they had already spent time and effort in looking at this evidence and then seeing where our expertise sort of fit and what we might be able to dig for.
Mm-hmm. The world can be a really scary and unpredictable place.
All right, let's skip her little ad. Here we go.
I remember saying to Jared, we're going to go in there. We're going to find the motive. We're going to be able to tell these families why. We're going to understand how this crime occurred. And there was so much information that just wasn't there that was shocking. And that's when I started to panic a bit and saying, you know what? I'm going to use Celebrite Inspector. The FBI granted me a license to use Magnet Axiom, which is a competitor of Celebrite. I used open source tools. It was almost a desperate chase to find data that was erased.
Mm. And how hard is that to find data that is erased? Because it can be done.
Well, it depends on how it was deleted. So on a computer, if you drag something to the recycle bin, or if you do shift delete, that information can be recovered for a set period of time. If it's in a database on a computer, it can be recovered for a set period of time until it's purged. But when it's purged, depending on how it's overwritten, it can really be gone. And there are tools out there that will overwrite the data, so it is unrecoverable.
That's what he did. The data was overwritten and unrecoverable. Hey, Pines, William Richard Bradford, a serial rapist and murderer in the LA area, including the San Fernando Valley in the 80s. The death row poet, a professional photographer who used the promise of modeling.
Mhm. So we hear, in the news, we've heard in the past about programs, software, BleachBit, if you will. And I'm not saying that was used in this case, but we did hear that there was some high-end software, if you will, that Bryan Kohberger was using to, quote unquote, wipe his devices. Is that true, Jared? Is that what was going on?
No. And again, just speaking to the 2 devices that we participated in, if there was something on something else, maybe that's true, but that's not true for what we did.
Really?
Yeah. So for the Android phone, if you think of it more of not some fancy wiping software, but the user making decisions to dumb down connectivity and make his device less fruitful. Ultimately, he used incognito mode in Google Chrome to try to
Incognito mode. 36 months. Robat. Thank you for the True Crime Live. My pleasure, actually. Incognito potato on his phone.
to sort of obscure the records that could be recorded about his web history. You can manually go in and just clean things up, clear my history, like things like that. With some time, they do actually delete. But he turned off his Wi-Fi, and so making his device not able to look out there and beacon and talk to networks that he might have been near. He used NordVPN, which in and of itself, it's benign. It's not something that is necessarily a nefarious thing. Security conscious people use VPNs all the time. Sometimes people use VPNs to stream stuff from somewhere else in the world just for fun. But as you start to build this profile of all of the behaviors that he did, especially around the time of the crime, he set up his device to be dumb, minimally collecting data. And so as we started to tackle the evidence from the Android, it wasn't what's here, but very obviously what's not here.
Oh, see, that makes sense, right? He basically dumbed down his smartphone.
And then hyper focusing on the minutes and hours before and after this void of time where his phone was powered off in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm. And Heather, he physically, the prosecutor has said this, it didn't go into airplane mode. It didn't, the battery didn't die. He physically pushed this button, the power button, and turned off his phone the night of the murders.
Correct. I got lucky that I had the exact same test phone, make, model, Android version, AT&T network, like everything aligned perfectly. I said to Jared, we have his exact phone. So we would replicate exactly what we found. So we would find these log files. We work with a really smart person, Josh Hickman, who is an Android expert. And we would reach out to Josh and say, do you know what this log is? What does this mean? So we recreated, not only did he physically power it off, he turned off Wi-Fi 2 days prior to the murder. He powered off his phone. It was at 100% battery. We're going to testify with 100% certainty that's what he did.
Why would he turn off Wi-Fi?
They were going to testify with 100% certainty.
2 days before the homicides. What does that mean? What does that say to you as a digital forensics investigator?
I would guess he didn't want to be detected. He knows Wi-Fi scanning happens, and we don't know. We didn't have fruitful location artifacts on his device because time to evidence matters, and Jared can dive more into that. But if he did pre-GI runs or showed that he wasn't connected to his home anymore, because sometimes these phones not only show what you're connected to, but if his alibi was that he was at home, it wasn't. It was he was stargazing. But Wi-Fi is huge in putting you at a location. So he knew that, and he wanted to prevent that.
Yeah, a lot of times choosing to press the button to turn off Wi-Fi, to me, that was preparation. That was him doing an action that he thought.
Okay, but that's weird to me. So what I don't understand, he shut off his Wi-Fi, which makes your phone not scan to join all these different networks that you pass by or, whatever. But what about the data part of his phone? Doesn't that collect? Or does that just connect to the closest towers? And that's how they got the tower pings. They can't get as specific. Am I understanding that right? Like with the phone data on? It just seems to me that even with phone data on, I don't know, it's confusing. I get that Wi-Fi pinpoints you better, though.
Would help him get away with it. But what it ultimately does is it creates logging of the fact that he did that thing, and then now we're talking about it because he did that. Had he just left it on, it may have done something, but it might not have also.
And that behavior, you can go back and look at his phone months prior to that and see whether or not that is something he routinely did, because people are creatures of habit.
Exactly. And that's what we do. We try to pattern of life. What is your norm? And then we let the abnormal speak volumes to us.
And he didn't do that normally. Like Bryan Kohberger did not normally go on his phone and turn off the Wi-Fi, I would assume.
Yeah, there were just a few instances in the log where he did that. But I think when we talk about this, we tend to focus on like one individual action. Did he always do that? It's really a whole picture. Did his phone ever power off, manually by pressing the button with 100%? Like maybe he did that once before, but to do all of the things at the same time and in that time frame is when people were murdered. That's the point. Is it's not a one-off thing. This is a culmination of numerous things coming together at the exact point in time where these crimes occurred.
So at the time of the murders, within the 2 days of the murders, he's powering off his Wi-Fi. Right before the murders, he's powering off his phone. Was there anything else around that time period that you found that was out of the norm or unusual?
On his computer, so this is supposed to be his school computer. And according to reports that I have read, Jared and I did a really good job of staying out of the media, not reading things, not listening to things. But in our investigative calls, he was apparently a good student. He didn't miss, well, shouldn't say good student. He was an attentive student who didn't really miss anything. He showed up. He had huge gaps in usage from October 12th through November 16th on his computer. However, the computer, just like Jared said, everything you do or don't do, the computer is constantly tracking it. So the computer would show that browser was in use, but then there's no history, that the system was in use, but then there's no activity. So we know that he was cleaning up his tracks, and what that may be, who knows? And that's something that I think a lot of people want to know. What do we think would be there if he hadn't cleaned up his digital tracks?
Yeah. So before the crime, we could see some browser history. After the crime, we can see browser history. In the period around the time, there's almost nothing. Like he was manually going in and clearing things around that time frame. And that's just leads you to wonder, what was he searching?
Right. Why?
Where did he spend his minutes on his phone in that couple days? Because we don't have everything, but instead we have a void, and we have this period where he didn't leave the normal footprints that he did the rest of the time. So
on the phone, he did Chrome incognito browsing a lot from what we have seen. On his computer, he bounced back and forth. So it seemed like he got a little bit lax in December after the murder and had normal browsing activity.
Why doesn't his nose look as crooked here? Do we think that his nose got injured in the murders? Like what? Why doesn't it look as crooked? Was it like still freshly broken in that picture?
But where
the angle,
he really made mistakes. He did a good job of clearing his browser on the PC. He cleared his downloads. He cleared cache and cookies. So anything, if you go into the settings and it prompts you on which buttons you want to clear, great. He forgot to clear his downloads on his phone, which was very helpful to us.
So what did you find on the phone that you thought was telling or indicative of guilt?
As we started to dig in, we very clearly saw this couple hours of the device powered off. And so obviously we knew when the murders happened, and that literally bookended that time. So the phone is powered off. Right away, we know, like in that couple hours, we're not going to have the location ping that puts him right at the crime scene. We're not going to have health. We're not going to have some of the stuff that we would have had if it were just powered on.
Right. So they had no Reddit history. They had nothing. And we know, okay, so what's crazy, if you think about it this way, we have no Reddit history on the phone, right? Or on the computer or whatever. We know that he was using Reddit to spread his survey. So that's one website / app that we know he used, but there's no sign of it. So he very well could have been inside looking and outside looking, right?
But then taking sort of like a step back, so sort of timelining in both directions, we didn't have a smoking gun, and that's okay, because when an alibi is I was out taking pictures of the stars, I really silly put in a report, you cannot use a phone that is powered off to take photos of the stars. Like, and you might say that's so dumb. Yeah, I know, but that's what he said he was doing. There was a period of time.
I know. I'm just,
where
we all kind of, I think did one of these when we read it. So.
Right. And so just to say, like, there were 0 pictures in this night of stars, like not before, not after, like he wasn't photographing. And as you take a step back, then you start to say like, there's nothing here. And then you start to explore, why does Google Chrome have nothing right now? But then later we see every inch of everything he was doing. And it just starts to build this profile of specific actions taken to get rid of evidence around the time of the crime, which that in and of itself is the conversation. It's the, if you ask me what I was doing on that night, even if I happened to turn my phone off, I wasn't doing all of these things. And
so this is yet another creepy picture, but this one looks like it could have been done at his parents'. This is definitely not in the bathroom, and this selfie was leaked to Dateline. This looks like the same picture where he's younger and in his parents' basement. I think this is in his parents' basement. And if anybody remembers Josco 1972, look at the picture behind him. You see that picture on the wall? Remember Josco had the picture behind him? I can't.
If you asked me what I was doing on that night, even if I happened to turn my phone off, I wasn't doing all of these things. And if I, looking at every normal person, because I see a lot of people say, well, I talk to my parents every day and I do this and I do that. I was like, great. But with all of these things combined in one single moment in time, it's different than just doing one of these things as a behavior.
And I think it shows premeditated intentions.
Definitely.
Did he call his parents every day? It sounds like, from what we're hearing, after he was incarcerated, I mean, he's on video calls on his tablet in jail with his mom for hours every day. So did you guys find that he was somebody who called his mom and dad like every morning?
Mother and father.
Ugh,
that's when he called them in his phone. Mother and father. And yes.
It was very consistent. Like
starting at like 5 a.m. his time, and then every single night to also put him to bed.
Texting, calling. There were numerous times where it seemed like his mother was basically saying East Coast time, saying, I'm going to bed. And then he was West Coast time, still staying up and doing whatever. But it was normal that it was the most, consistent conversations between them.
Yeah, I think there was a good night text once where she said, go to bed, Brian, calm down. And there were a lot of exclamation points too.
His mom, go to bed, Brian, calm down.
From his mom to him, because he would confirm, like, call now. And she would say, Brian, I said I will call at 5:30, exclamation point. And he's like, now, question mark. And she would write 5:30, exclamation point.
So he's a 28-year-old guy. I mean, this sounds like he's got some attachment issues. Did you see that? Or does he come off as very needy when it comes to his parents?
I mean, just based on the communication, yes. And there didn't seem to be another person in his life based on what the evidence we looked at that filled any of his time. And there's not a friend that got consistent messages. There was pretty much nothing except for his communication with his parents.
The investigators have said there was no connection. They found no connection between Bryan Kohberger and Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. From that upper parking lot of the apartment building next door. Is that what you found? Zero connection, not one search of Maddie, not one search of Kaylee or Xana?
Not before, but again, he cleared a lot of his history. So if he was searching for it, we weren't able to find that on the devices. And that's one of the things we initially looked for right away.
Bye, Flobo. Have a great night.
Any ties to the victims. After the fact, he was searching everything associated to the murders. And so he did have that information then.
I want to talk about the searches he did. It's my understanding he was searching, watching a lot of news stories on YouTube about this. I mean, he watched our stuff. He watched a lot of people's stuff on YouTube about this. He's searching for his own name related to this, searching for psychopath. What do you guys say about all of that, all of these searches that you see?
Initially, and this is where it's hard because he was a criminology major. Now, something I would challenge, I have a forensic science undergrad too. And just because I did bloodstain pattern analysis doesn't mean that I looked up people who were hitting heads with baseball bats excessively. So to each their own, we know that's what the defense was going to be. He looked up a lot of home invasions, burglaries, co-ed killings,
burglaries,
serial killers. There was one search. I remember the first time we found it. I was sitting at the FBI and Jared was not, and I was on the phone with him. I'm like, I saw something weird, Danny Rawling. And he was like, wait a second, what's that name? And Jared looked it up and he's like, he's the Gainesville Ripper. He's a co-ed killer, same knife. Like there were a lot of details there that were just too eerie. And then as Jared dove into the phone, there's even more. Do you want to share that?
Yeah. So again,
and I think that was November, right? The first hit for Danny Rawling.
Yeah, I think so.
November of 2022.
Yeah.
Yes.
On Christmas 2022, so after the crime,
Ugh.
late at night and into the early morning of the 26th, he was just like working through serial killers. And the site was specifically serial killer timelines.
Ugh. He was digging into serial killer timelines on Christmas.
And so it just basically has this list of a bunch of serial killers. And it seemed, based on the timing of it, that he was just clicking one, scanning, reading, and then going back and clicking the next one. And literally for a period of time, just reading about serial killer timelines. And it's literally a breakdown of like how they were raised, what their
Yes,
childhood was like
Beans.
with their parents, that somebody killed a dog when they were young, or that they were beaten by their, like, it is a timeline of these people's whole lives leading up to what ultimately is them getting caught for being serial killers. But he did that into the wee hours of the morning after Christmas Day.
Wow. And it's that he did search for Danny Rawling, and that one's a really chilling search because Danny Rawling used a K-bar, he sexually assaulted his victims, and he was wearing all black, and he entered a couple of their apartments through sliding glass doors. I did some research on that. He also searched for Harvey Glattman, Robert Hansen, Tommy Lynn Sells. Did you find any searches for Ted Bundy?
Yes.
It's on the PDF, right?
Yeah. Ted Bundy
PDF.
was in this same search time.
What was Bryan Kohberger searching related to pornography?
Yeah, so to not be too graphic with it, the consistent nature of the searches were non-consensual sex acts, which...
Ugh. Okay. So for anybody that says there's no sexual component to Bryan, maybe not in what we would think of as being sexual, obviously he's fucked up because he's searching non-consensual sex acts. Drunk, passed out girls, to be more specific.
The consistent nature of the searches were non-consensual sex acts, which, you know, I don't know what normal would be, but it stood out to me. I've done investigations for years and tons of mobile device extraction analysis, and seeing pornography is not weird. Seeing what someone is interested in is not weird. But the fact that this person had non-consensual, specifically only that, not one other thing that was a consensual sex act. They were all like aggressive or drugged.
Not one was consensual sex. Oh, God, that's disgusting. Jeez, oh, Pete. Not one search.
Only that, not one other thing that was a consensual sex act. They were all like aggressive or drugged.
Or sleeping.
Voyeurism. It was all consistently non-consensual things.
Voyeurism.
Was this before, after the homicides, or both?
It was, I'm not sure.
It's autofill, so I don't know that we actually even have a date with it.
Oh, damn. Autofill.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. When you're clearing your history, there's so many things that when you clear your history, you may not think about. Autofill is typically something you enter and the browser wants to please you. So if it knows that you go to a specific site every day, it's like, oh, you're going to this news channel. As you start typing A, if you're going to ABC, it knows I'm going to save this for you. And those words were saved in the autofill for Chrome.
Now, there has been endless speculation that Bryan Kohberger could have encountered Maddie or Xana at the Mad Greek restaurant in downtown Moscow, where they both worked. The Mad Greek is now closed, but the restaurant served some vegan dishes. Law enforcement has said they found no connection to Kohberger and the victims. I asked Heather and Jared about the possibility that Kohberger ever visited the Mad Greek.
Yes, and I would love to specify this a little bit more. And this was the one finding that was that was released to the prosecution that they came back and said the defense didn't like it, which made me think we were onto something. Like, this is great. So there is a Google Map cache file that was recovered from the Android that showed Mad Greek, and it looked like I actually have it in front of me. It looked almost like a review, or if you think about if you Google in Google Maps and you look up restaurants nearby, you could call it, you could get directions, you could look at a menu. So it looks like all of those things were available. Now the issue, could it have Wi-Fi in that file? Absolutely, but I don't know. The issue is Mad Greek, their Wi-Fi name was Mad Greek. So it's not helpful to see what was in that listing. But what Jared and I had looked at a few times, and I plan to keep testing this to figure it out exactly. If the prosecution said, Heather, is it likely that the user was in Moscow and on Google Maps said nearby restaurants or bars and Mad Greek appeared? I would say yes. But if the defense came up and said, Heather, is it possible that from Pullman, Washington, the suspect searched for restaurants in Moscow and this came up, could that happen? I would say yes.
Ooh.
So it's not like we can.
Ooh, that's kind of touchy. Because I don't know. What do you guys think? That could have put a little bit of doubt, right?
Tie him to the location of Mad Greek, but Mad Greek, he physically saw Mad Greek on his phone.
So you can't say specifically that he was there, but you found something in his phone that indicated that he had at least viewed it on his phone.
Yes.
So you don't have any evidence showing that his Wi-Fi on his phone bumped up against or tried to connect to the Wi-Fi at the Mad Greek.
No, I wish. And as Jared said, he was really cautious about his Wi-Fi and the cleanup. And there's so many things. Logs are only kept for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that the investigators didn't know who the suspect was right away. So it took time to get to his device. And on Android, logs can be cleared after 24 hours, a week, 30 days. So time to evidence is huge in cases like this. And there just wasn't a suspect fast enough.
Now, Heather and Jared also have some thoughts on that disturbing thumbs up selfie that Bryan Kohberger took 6 hours after the murders, where he is in his bathroom. Jared noticed something specifically about Kohberger's hands.
Yeah, that this thumbs up with sort of the Band-Aid. As soon as I saw it catches your eye, because his knuckles look just so white. And like, it reminded me of like scrubbing your hands for days to try to get something off. And then there's this like Band-Aid that's visible. That's, like just barely visible in the picture.
Mm.
That's creepy.
The hoodie picture as well. It's been like sort of a popular one in the case as well. The general behavior, as I looked at it, I would have said that criminology major and studies of criminology does not excuse you for the amount of searching, the times of day. This wasn't a healthy, like I'm doing this for my college class type activity. It seemed very different. I think the smoking gun, there really wasn't one, but for his device was his bookend that he put around these killings. To be awake at that time in the morning, turning your phone off and then turning it back on. And there's plenty of other records that we didn't access. Like the FBI did some sort of cell record mapping for where his phone was based on the cell towers. Right? That wasn't anything that we were doing.
Oh.
But the moment that he
So the FBI was doing their own extractions and mapping and all of that stuff.
turned his phone back on, that they can start to take over and say, and this is where he was, right? And so for that period of time where these people were killed, he was awake and had turned his phone off, and in my opinion, had prepared by killing his Wi-Fi, using VPN, clearing all his search history to do this.
So he was obsessed, in your mind, with serial killers, and had basically been planning this for some time. I mean, he bought the knife, we know, in March of 2022, but then maybe actually plotting this, Heather, you're talking October, so a month prior. So, he might have had the thought in his mind in March, but the actual maybe planning and selection could have started possibly in October.
Yeah, the gap of why that far back only on browser was weird to me. It didn't make much sense. And I'm not sure if that's possibly when he decided he was going to be more of an incognito browser. Who knows? It was just really bizarre behavior. And then there were also, Jared, do you remember all of I saw the show or movie American Psycho just a few times, and how much the guy loved himself and would take selfies in the mirror and how clean he would want to be and just examining his body. He seemed to do those same types of things.
Yeah, lots of like flexing muscles, selfies.
Flexing muscles.
Half clothed, like that. There's
half clothed.
Numerous instances of that on his phone. There was also he spent a lot of time on Reddit, and especially post-crime. He was.
So look, there was Reddit history, y'all. There was Reddit history.
There's tons of history of him looking into like the Idaho murders on Reddit. And that's actually another thing that stood out, is this wasn't just someone who was like, hey, I'm interested in the case. He was going and downloading the Moscow press releases to his device. Like not just taking a look at what the news said, but like almost like saving everything that they populated. There was a Reddit post that it appears that he made based on his emails, where he was looking for ex-cons to participate in some study, and people were like emailing him. And ultimately you see Reddit suspends him, which I think was, at time of arrest and notification to the world. But there was also a really interesting sort of pattern of things where he read something on the news that said, police still looking for Hyundai Elantra, white in color, this year to this year, make and model. Within minutes, he searches for a car detailing place and then starts to shop for used cars.
What an idiot. What an idiot.
So it was almost like
Ah,
I realize that they know my car. I have to get rid of it and get something different. So like, again, does a normal person look to clean their car before they sell it? Sure. Right. But all of these things adding up, it really paints a picture.
Wow. Well, is there anything that I haven't?
crazy. All right. That's that. Now look at this. This is Josco 1972 from TikTok. See that picture behind Josco? That's what gives me the heaves. I can't zoom in for some reason. Hold on. No, that makes it worse. All right, that's all I can do. But can you guys see the picture on the wall? Oof, I don't like it. Tempest, I agree with that. Now, let me go back to that picture. What a creep, man. But see the picture, okay? Now look at the picture over his shoulder. I can't tell if it's the same one. And then BK's mom, yes, sent him an article a few days after the killings. And it was details of Xana fighting back and her injuries. And they were on the phone when she texted it to him. But see that picture? And then that picture, I don't know if it's the same room. But it's crazy, right? Thanks, agent. Hey, Pickle. Yeah, I know. Jalapenos. It's gross, right? All right, guys. Speaking of nachos, I am super hungry. So I'm going to end this and find something to eat. But thank you so much, you guys. This was really interesting to go over. And, again, poor Bethany, right? I guess we wait and see what other interviews are going to come out. We will go over those. And like I said, tomorrow, check out my community. I'll put the link to the Kick link and we will watch the 2020 episode and see what happened. All right. Thanks, guys. Oh, nachos sounds so good. I'm not going to lie. Good night, everybody. Have a great night. Stay safe. Lock your freaking doors. I think I'm going to say that after every show now. Lock your doors. I love you guys. Bye.
Be sure to check out my other videos and playlists for more true crime content. And if that's not enough, you can join our Patreon. Don't have a tinfoil hat? It's okay. We'll make you one. It's that easy. See you guys in the next video.
See you later. Bye.